गणानां त्वा गणपतिं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत आनशृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनं श्रीमहागणाधिपतये नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। Om. Dear friends, we are having this discussion on avidya. Yesterday we had an introduction to that. That is, what is the locus of avidya? So that was the main question. Because we are able to see this, we are able to feel this avidya, we are able to see its impact. We are seeing that avidya is making us see things in a totally different way from what they are. And then the question, and then the avidya is also felt with us. We are also feeling that avidya. I am avidyavan. That is our experience. Because a person who is a jnani, he is not affected by ragadvesha. So by sheer inference, that anumana pramana, we are having, because we are having all this raga, dvesha, sukha, dukkha, etc., I am avidyavan. So that is by inference we are able to know that this I am avidyavan. So then where exactly is it located? I means, okay, I am, if I am very much aware that I means Brahman, then there is no question. This question will not arise. Whereas we are still in a stage where I am not able to know, where I have not yet equated myself with that Brahman. And then I am not very sure whether I am the body-mind complex or whether I am something different. So that is why, where exactly is it located? Is it located in the kshetra or is it located in Atma? So that is the question. So then we discussed this thing yesterday. You say if you say that it belongs to Atma, it cannot hold, because Atma is something which is asanga, which is swaprakasha. Atma is something which illumines everything, and there cannot be any avidya in that, and it cannot have contact with anything. Asanga, by definition, it is asanga, it cannot have any contact with anything. Then option 2 is, it should be with this jnaya. But then jnaya is totally jadam. Jnaya is totally jadam, and avidya is having some sort of link with, some little bit of avidya is not totally ignorance, isn't it? Avidya means false knowledge. Avidya means something which is false knowledge. Avidya is a sort of link between this jada and this chit, total jada with this chit. So this is where exactly it is sticking on to, where exactly we have to map it. So that is what we have to see. And then we can't say that it is independent also. Avidya, we can't say that it is independent also, because whatever is anatma is jada. And avidya also, strictly speaking, it falls under the category of jada only. Strictly speaking, avidya also falls under the category of jada only, because it is not Brahman, isn't it? But still, it is having some link with chit. It is still having some link with chit. It is having some link with jada. So that is why it is called chit jada granthi. Because there is one very famous shloka which says that this avidya is anadi. Vedantins, they accept 6 types of anadis. That is, one is jiva. There is a very well-known shloka. Jiva isho vishuddha chit. Jiva ishaha vishuddha chit. Vishuddha chit means that Shuddha Brahman. Jiva is jiva we know. Antahkaranavachannam chaitanyam. Then Ishwaraha, that mayavachannam chaitanyam. Vishuddha chit, that Shuddha Brahman. Jiva isho vishuddha chit tatha jiveshayor bhida. That is the difference between the jiva and the isha. Then avidya tat chitor yogaha. Avidya is what we are discussing. Tat chitor yogaha. That is its connection with this chit. Tat chitor yogaha. That is, that connection with chit is also there. How exactly is it connected? So that is the basic problem. Connection with chit, in some manner it is there. So where to locate it? So ultimate Siddhanta will come in, I will tell you in the end. But right now this is the picture. Right now we are accepting 6 anadis. Avidya tat chitor yogaha shad asmakam anadayaha. So that is a well-known shloka. So this avidya cannot be called an independent entity also. So we have come to a situation where it does not belong to Atma, it does not belong to Anatma, It does not. It is not even independent. So that is the picture. So we have to say locate it somewhere. So that is where this discussion started. That is sa avidya kasya. So we will just repeat some discussion which took place in the last class, because this is probably a very difficult passage in this particular adhyaya. So let us see. Sa avidya kasyeti. That is, where exactly is it located? Sa avidya kasya literally means to whom does that avidya belong? But that is not the sense. The sense is, where is it located? Kasya. Is it kshetrajnasya or is it kshetrasya? So that is the picture. Then yasya drushyate tasyaiva. So the Siddhanti is not giving direct replies. The Siddhanti is trying to lead him to some sort of say his way of understanding things. Siddhanti is putting some leading questions also, as we see. So he says, yasya drushyate tatraiva. So the basic question is whether avidya is seen at all or not. So avidya is seen or noticed or experienced. So that is the fact. Then kasya drushyate iti. That the Purvapaksha says kasya drushyate. Atrochyate avidya kasya drushyate iti prashnaha nirarthakaha. What you say, it becomes meaningless. Why? Katham drushyate ched avidya tadvantamapi pashyasi. So the question is whether avidya is seen at all. If it is seen, you should be able to know, you should be able to identify as to where it is located. And he gives the example of a cowherd and cows. So you are seeing some cowherd, you are seeing some cows, and then say immediately you know the relationship between the cowherd and the cows. He, at least tentatively, he is the owner. Maybe after taking back to the village, the owner may be different, but at least here the owner is that cowherd, isn't it? So here nahi gomatyupalabhyamane gavah kasya iti prashnaha arthavan bhavet. So that question will be meaningless. Then the Purvapaksha again says, no, what you say, the illustration which you are giving is not a proper illustration, because in the case of cowherd and cows, these are two different things which can be objectified by any onlooker, objectified by any jnata, a knower. And then this knower will be able to see cowherd in one place, cows in another place, and he is able to know. But then in the case of avidya, so you are seeing an avidyavan, but where exactly it is located, we do not know whether it is a part of the jnanam or whether it is a part of the jnaya. So when you are looking at a person, you are seeing two things there. One is that antahkaranavachinam chaitanyam, who is a jnata, which is called jnata. The other thing is this body-mind complex, isn't it? So avachinna chaitanya is one, antahkaranam itself is something different. So you are seeing two things. Where exactly is it located? So let us understand from that manner. So then say he says, what the example which you have given is incorrect. Why? He says, nanu vishamo drushtantaha gavam tadvatascha pratyakshatva pratyakshatvat sambandhopi pratyakshaha. That sambandha means relationship. Sambandha, for the word sambandha, we should here take locus also, because when you are talking about sambandha between avidya and say kshetra or kshetrajna, we are talking about the locus. We are talking about the where exactly is it ashraya. Ashraya means where exactly is it stationed, where exactly is it anchored, let us say. So iti prashnaha nirarthakaha na tatha avidya tadvanscha pratyakshau. This avidya and tadvan means the one who has avidya, they are not pratyakshau, they are not say directly seen. Yataha prashno nirarthakasyat. If they were to be directly seen, my question would become irrelevant or meaningless. But they are not directly perceived. So then it means, what does it mean? That avidya, okay, it is felt or it is known, but then avidyavan we do not know. Avidyavan means where exactly is it located? That avidyavan is where the locus of that avidya. So that we do not know. So then say the Siddhanti is asking, apratyaksheena avidyavata avidya sambandhe jnate. So in case you know the sambandha or relationship or locus, first let us talk about relationship only. Relationship between this avidya and this avidyavan. And avidyavan you are saying is apratyaksha. Apratyaksha means it is not directly known. Avidyavan, who exactly it is not known. Apratyaksheena api avidya, apratyaksheena avidyavata, it is all tritiya vibhakti. Avidyavata, avidya sambandhe jnate, jnate sati, in case it is known, kim tava syat, what is it to you? So, avidyavan is not a person, we should not say a person who is having avidya, we are talking about the locus of avidya. So, this then this man says, the Purvapakshi says, Kim tava, when the Siddhanti says, Kim tava syat, what is it to you? Siddhanti says, Avidyayaha anartha hetutvat parihartavya syat. Because avidya is the cause of all troubles, it is the cause of all defects, so it has to be got rid of, parihartavya. So, it has to be got rid of, parihartavya syat. Then the Siddhanti says, Yasya avidya satam pariharishyati. Whoever has that avidya, he will get rid of it. Why are you worried? So then this man comes out, Nanu mamaiva avidya. Yes, I am that avidyavan. I am that avidya. Mamaiva avidya. I don't say, he doesn't say mama, I am avidyavan. Mamaiva avidya. I am having that avidya, I am experiencing that avidya. So I want to know the locus, whether it is associated with the body-mind complex or whether it is associated with the Chaitanyam. Then, where is it? Yes, Janasi tarhi avidyam tadvantam cha atmanam. So he says, Janasi tarhi. Tarhi means in that case, you know, Janasi, avidyam tadvantam atmanam. Then you know that avidya and also yourself. Atmanam means yourself. Tadvantam atmanam, yourself. You know yourself who is having that avidya. Then janami natu pratyakshena. I know, but I do not know. As I can see two different objects, I am not able to see. So that is what he says. Then now the important discussion comes. So I think from here somewhere we stopped yesterday. Anumanena se janasi katham sambandha grahanam. So you are saying that anumanena janasi. And anumana was that okay, I am avidyavan because I am having all the sukha, dukkha, raga, dvesha, etc. And a contrary example is a jnani. So usually in this Anumana, say Anumana Vakya, the contrary example also is given. Contrary example is, I am a fool, not like him who is a wise man. So like that. So I am avidyavan because I am having this raga, dvesha, sukha, dukkha, etc., etc. And the contrary example is a jnani who is a muktatma. The muktatma who is not having any raga, dvesha, etc., etc. I am not like him, so I am ajnani. So along Anumana Vakya will come like that. So by that Anumana, you are able to know. But then you are able to know that you are only having avidya. But sambandha, that locus, how can you locate how can you know the locus? The point of Shankaracharya is, you may know that you are having avidya, but you can't establish where exactly it is located. So that is what he says. Katham sambandha grahanam. Then, nahi tava jnatuhu jnaya bhutaya avidyaya tatkale sambandha grahitum shakyate. So I think somewhere here we stopped. Nahi tava jnatuhu, to you who are the jnata. Nahi tava jnatuhu, to you who are the jnata. Jnaya bhutaya avidyaya sambandha. Jnaya bhutaya avidya means that is avidya which is a jnayam to you. So far as you are concerned, avidya is jnayam to you. It is known to you. With that avidya, you do not know the sambandha. How? Tatkale. At the same time, you cannot know. Yesterday I gave the example of an intoxicated person. An intoxicated person, he is so totally drunk that he doesn't know what he has been doing. Later, after all that hangover is out, is gone, so then he will think, oh, what I did was idiotic. Or something like nidra, a person who is in sleep. So a person cannot say I am asleep. A person who is dreaming, he cannot say I am dreaming. So like that. So like that, you are at that time, your mind is busy. Yourself is busy with that avidya only, not mind. You can say self. That yourself, this Chaitanya is very much busy with that avidya only. Whatever is the knower, that knower or the illuminer as you call it, that illuminer is very busy in cognizing that avidya only. Or in other words, he is under the effect of avidya. He is enveloped by avidya. So he is in that position. He is going to say that. Nanu tatkale sambandha nahi tava ज्ञातुः ज्ञेयभूतया विद्यया तत्काले सम्बन्धः ग्रहीतुं शक्यते. तत्काले, at the very same time when you are under the influence of say avidya, you cannot know its sambandha. That is the where it is located. He is going to explain. Avidyayaha vishayatvenaiva jnatuhu upayuktatvat. Avidyayaha vishayatvenaiva. So this for this jnata, avidya becomes the vishaya. For this jnata, avidya becomes the vishaya, and then jnatu is upayukta there itself. Upayukta means his energy is spent there only. Upayoga, upayoga means using. Upayukta means it is used up. Upayukta, upayoga, upayoga is using. Upayukta means used up. It is all upayukta, it is used up. So you have to say you can't do any other work. So like that, this jnata is engaged, or he is very busy. He is upayukta in knowing that avidya only. Is it clear?
Yes.
Avidyayaha vishayatvenaiva. Avidya is becoming the vishaya. That means vishayatva. The status of being a vishaya is vishayatva. Avidyayaha vishayatvena. That is, avidya is becoming avidyayaha vishayatvam. That is, avidya is becoming vishaya for this jnata. So in simple language, it is like that. Jnatuhu upayuktatvat. So the jnata is very busy there only. Jnata is stuck there only. So that is what he says. Let me see any other avidyayaha tatkale. So tatkale, you can't know the relationship because you are affected by that, or in other words engaged by that. Engaged also is okay. Or you are enveloped by that, you are used up by that, so that is it. So in that way you are busy there. Then the next line says, Nacha jnatuhu avidyayascha sambandhasya yo grahita jnanam cha anyat tad vishayam sambhavati anavasthapattehe. So this we did not read. We will read it. Nacha jnatuhu avidyayascha sambandhasya yo grahita ज्ञानं च अन्यत् तद् विषयं संभवति अनवस्था प्राप्तेः. यदि ज्ञातापि ज्ञेयसम्बन्धः ज्ञायेत अन्यो ज्ञाता कल्प्यः स्यात् तस्याप्यन्यः इति अनवस्था अपरिहार्य. So for these two sentences I am taking the notes from Anandagiri, because for these two lines Anandagiri has given a very good explanation, because otherwise without Anandagiri's explanation it is very difficult to understand these two lines. This nacha jnatuhu avidyayascha sambandhasya grahita. So you are saying that you want to cognize your avidya. So you see, the problem is like this. There is a jnata, and then this jnata is trying to know his avidya. So when he is trying to know the sambandha, between him and the avidya, what is the nature of a sambandha? Sambandha is something which exists in two things. Sambandha means there is a relationship between A and B, means sambandha exists in two things. So sambandha is called dvinishta. Dvinishta is existing in two things. So when that is so, then A is a jnata. So you are talking about a jnata and jneyam, that is ajnanam, isn't it? So you call it A and B, let us say. This A and B are related. That jnata and ajnanam are related. So if these have to be seen by the A himself, A is the jnata, if these have to be seen by A himself, A has to see both A and B, isn't it? You have to see the sambandha, like cowherd and cows. Like cowherd and cows, the third fellow is able to see the sambandha. But then whereas here, this A and B are not different from the jnata. One is a jnata and one is a jneya, isn't it? So the jnata has to see the jneyam and also jnata also, isn't it? You followed it? The jnata has to see both the jneyam and also the jnata, because sambandha grahanam means sambandha is dvinishta. It is there in two things. So if the jnata has to separate himself and then jnata has to see another jnata, it cannot happen. Jnata means knower. Knower is always one. Consciousness is one only and it is not of so many types. So this consciousness cannot be karta and karma at the same time, isn't it? So if you want to look at yourself, if A has to look at A himself, that A himself is the looker. Looker means knower, let us say. Looker is a peculiar expression. Okay, the A himself is the knower and A himself will be the known. Because when you are trying to see the relationship between A and B, when the A himself is trying to do that, then this A becomes both the karta, that is a knower, and also the known. So there is what is called kartru karma virodha. Kartru karma virodha means a person cannot be the karta and karma at the same time. The standard example given in our text, Vedanta text is, of course here it is not there, a person standing on his own shoulders. So you can stand on my shoulders or vice versa, but then I can't stand on my own shoulders. I may be a great expert in yoga. I may put my shoulders on my, I may put my legs on my shoulders, but then I can't climb. I will be on the ground only. So that is kartru karma virodha. So a person cannot be a karta and karma at the same time. So that is what Anandagiri writes. I will read out because Anandagiri has given a good explanation. Avidyayascha. So let us see this Tatkale, right from Tatkale. Tatkale swasya avidyam prati jnatrutva say jnatrutva avasthayam iti yavat avidyam vishaytvena gruhitva tad jnatrutvena upayuktatya. Okay, this is over. Avidyaya iti you see swatmani kutaha sambandha jnatrutvam ekasya karma kartrutva virodhat ityaha. Ekasya karma kartrutva virodhat. You cannot become a karta and karma at the same time. Then Dvitiyam nirasyati. The second portion he is rejecting. Nacha. What with the sentence we read? Nacha jnatuhu avidyayascha sambandhasya yograhita. That is, a person who is able to cognize the relationship between the jnata and avidya. Jnatuhu avidyayascha. You see that sentence in the Bhashyam. Nacha jnatuhu avidyayascha sambandhasya yograhita. Grahita means the knower. Knower of the relationship, knower of what? Sambandhasya, that is the knower of the relationship, of whom, between whom? Jnatuhu avidyayascha, of the jnata and avidya. So A trying to know the relationship between that A and B, where A is again a knower and then B is a jnaya. So that is the point here. So that cannot happen, it cannot be there. So that is what Anandagiri says. So this thing is yograhita sa na sambhavati iti sambandhaha. So such a thing, it cannot happen. Because a knowledge, jnata will not be another jnata. Jnata does not need another jnata. If it has to be so, he will need some other jnata. He has to need some other jnata. So let us read this line again. Nacha jnatuhu avidyayascha sambandhasya yograhita. That is not possible. Then jnanam cha anyat tad vishayam sambhavati. There cannot be any other knowledge. Tad vishayam. Tad vishayam means that avidya vishayam. Avidya vishayakam. So that again some other knowledge. Some other knowledge cannot be there. So which means you are presuming another say jnata. Isn't it? So because why does it not happen? Yadi jnata api jnaya sambandho jnayeta. So that is, yadi jnata api jnaya sambandha jnayeta. In case this jnata will be able to know, in case the jnata will be able to know the avidya, the sambandha between him and the avidya, then you have to presuppose or you have to visualize another jnata. You have to visualize another jnata because the same jnata he cannot know. You have to visualize another jnata. And this another jnata also again getting involved with avidya. He is also getting polluted. He will also become jnaya. When he becomes jnaya, to know that jnata, you have to visualize another jnata. So this jnata also gets polluted by avidya, isn't it? It is something like a pollution. So this jnata also is getting polluted by that avidya. He will also become a jnaya. So the sambandha grahanam leads to this sort of anavastha. A sort of the technical word for anavastha is infinite regress. That is a big word. So you have to you can understand like this. Avastha, it comes from the root stha dhatu, isn't it? Avastha is avasthanam, to have some sort of fixed position. Avasthanam is to have some fixed position. Anavastha means not having any fixed position. So a sort of eternal inconclusiveness. It is leading to some sort of inconclusiveness. So that is what is anavastha. So that inconclusiveness, say technically it is called infinite regress, because it is in Western logic also, because these are all terms which are there in logic. Anavastha, all these terms, it is a technical term in logic. So they say that is the infinite regress is the standard translation for that. So like this, you have to visualize one jnata to know the difference between these two, and then because this jnata becomes a jnayam, you have to visualize another jnata. So that will also become say jnayam, so you have to visualize another jnata. So it goes on like that eternally. So it is a sort of say unending inconclusiveness, isn't it? So unending, eternal, eternal is a big word, unending inconclusiveness. So that is what is anavastha. So lack of stability in that thing. So is it clear?
Yes.
Because these two words, for this again I will read out. Atmanaha, he will also read out, he will also explain why this is reading to anavastha, who Anandagiri. Anavasthayameva prapanchayati yadi iti. Atmanaha swapara jneyatva ayogat. He is giving 3 reasons for that. Atmanaha swapara jneyatva ayogat. Atma is something which is of the nature of consciousness. It cannot be known by itself or by somebody else. Atma is of the nature of consciousness. There is no question of knowing consciousness. Consciousness is making this antahkarana to know things, isn't it? What is the process of knowledge? Consciousness is something which gets reflected on this antahkarana and also the indriyas. The indriyas, there is what is called a vritti. This vrittis go to vishayas. There is what is called a vrityavachinnam chaitanyam. This chaitanyam goes and then it contacts the object. And then there is also what is called vishayavachinnam chaitanyam. So these 3 chaitanyas, 3 types of chaitanya are 3 things which we are visualizing in chaitanya. So these 3 things are processed by the mind, and then it is called, we are thinking that it is a knowledge. So knowledge is something which is an after effect. This consciousness is something which is different. Consciousness is basically illumining the say antahkarana, and then antahkarana is knowing certain things. That is what we are tentatively calling it knowledge. So here, but Atma himself, that means consciousness itself, is not something which is cognized by somebody else or by itself. It is of the nature of pure consciousness. It is like that. Is it okay? So, Atmanaha swapara jneyatva ayogat. It cannot be known by itself, or it cannot be known by other person. Then tasmin avidya sambandhasya apramanikatvat. So apramanikam means you cannot establish by any pramana that this avidya is located in consciousness. The point here is that tasmin means in that atmani means in consciousness. Avidya sambandhasya apramanikatvat. So avidya is located in consciousness. It cannot be conclusively proved by any pramana. And another reason is Nitya anubhavagamyatve sthite. Nitya anubhavagamyatve sthite. When it is very, very clear that you are everyday experiencing avidya. You see, Atma is something which is not known either by itself or by any other person. A jnata or a consciousness cannot be known by itself or by some other consciousness. And then in that consciousness you cannot establish the locus of this avidya. That is second point. The third point is that at the same time you are also experiencing this avidya every day. Nitya anubhavagamyatve sthite. When that is so, then what is the conclusion? So that conclusion we are seeing in the next line. So is it okay? Should I say again?
No.
It is okay. Because I read out the Anandagiri's commentary as it is, so that you can also understand. If you have time, you can also go through this Anandagiri. Then yadi punaha avidya jneya anyadva jneyam jneyameva. Okay, so here is a statement. This is the conclusion. The conclusion for this overall whole discussion is Yadi punaha avidya jnaya anyadva, whether it is jnaya or anything else. So there is a loose end here. Loose end means Shankaracharya is just leaving it out without exactly saying where exactly it is located, because this is a subject which is discussed in some other places, may not be in Gita, but in various other books like Avidya, Advaita Siddhi and various other Vedanta texts it is located. And in fact the final Siddhanta is, what can be the final Siddhanta now that we are all students of Vedanta? Now what can be the final conclusion? Because we say that there is only one consciousness which is existing infinitely. Satyam Jnanam Anantam, that one consciousness which is not different from existence, consciousness existing infinitely. So this is one thing. And then what do we say? This Maya is something which is a sort of thing which appears in that Brahman. And then in that all this Prakriti is there. And in that what is this thing is there. What human being or some this Antahkarana etc. body mind complex is formed. And this Antahkarana is so brilliant, or such a great reflector, let us say. It is a great reflector of consciousness, and because it is a great reflector of consciousness, it is able to interact with the external things. A stone is not able to interact because the stone is not a great reflector of that consciousness. So you are able to do some transactions and all that. So you are calling this Jiva. Jiva does not mean anything else. It is also Chaitanyam. This fraction of Chaitanyam which is associated with, it is looking associated with this Antahkarana, like this Ghatakasha. You know this Ghatakasha, Mathakasha and Mahakasha. So like this Ghatakasha, you are having this small little consciousness which is associated with this Antahkarana. So all this drama is going on. Ultimately what is there? Apart from Chit, there is nothing else. So ultimately where should this say avidya, what we call avidya, where should it abide? It has to naturally abide in that Chit only, isn't it? So that is why there is a very, the conclusion at the final level is, avidya, this Chit, what we call this Shuddha Chaitanya, is the same ashraya and also vishaya for this, for this avidya. Ashrayatva Vishayatva Bhavini. There is a Bhagini, there is a shloka which says Ashrayatva Vishayatva Bhagini Nirvibhaga Chitireva Kevala. Ashrayatvam and Vishayatvam are both in this Nirvibhaga Chiti Eva. Nirvibhaga Chiti. Chiti means in that Chit. In that Chit only, this Ashrayatvam and Vishayatvam. In that Chit only there is Ashraya for say Avidya, Vishaya also for Avidya. In that Chit only the whole thing is there. So that is the final conclusion. Of course that we are not seeing here. I just told you because we should not be left in a sort of dilemma, because Shankaracharya is not concluding where exactly it is located. Shankaracharya is just going to conclude that avidya is something which is anirvachaniya. Avidya is something which cannot say where exactly it is located. So at that point he is leaving. But later discussion goes on by say various other in various other texts, and then it is, we have to settle it somewhere, isn't it? We have to take the bull by the horns and then settle it. So that has been done by various other people, and then the final doctrine of Advaita is that apart from Chit there is nothing else. So avidya has to be something which is a manifestation in that Chit only. It is a manifestation in that Chit only. And again there are two words used for avidya. So at the level of Brahman, what do we call it? We call it Maya, isn't it? At the level of Brahman, this so-called avidya is called Moola Avidya. Moola Avidya, that is the original avidya. And then at the level of Jiva, it is called Tula Avidya. Tula actually means a feather, feather-light. Let us say feather-light avidya is with the Jiva. The Moola Avidya, the root avidya is with the Brahman. Moola Avidya, Ishvara. Moola Avidya, avidya, the Avidyavacchinnam, Moola, say what is this? Mayavacchinnam Chaitanyam is Ishvara, isn't it? So that Moola Avidya is with Ishvara. Tula Avidya is with Jiva, isn't it? So that is how the whole structure of avidya is finally established by various commentators and various writers. Avidya for this chap, for this Jiva, because he is such a feather-light fellow, the avidya also is called Tula Avidya. It is again a feather-light avidya. Then again for that Maya, at that Maya level, because all this whole universe has to appear in this thing, all our struggles and all the say fights and battles and all these things have to happen in that avidya realm only. So that is why it is called Moola Vidya. So that is the picture. So here iti anavastha pariharya. So this anavastha you followed?
Yes.
This anavastha is something, apariharya means something which cannot be avoided. Apariharya, it can't be avoided. Then yadi punaha avidya jnaya anyadva. If at all this, if you want to say that avidya is a jnaya or anything else, whatever is jnaya, jnayam jnayameva. Jnayam is jnaya only. So that is the picture. Tatha jnatapi jnata iva na jnayam bhavati. So this A, seeing the relationship between A and B, cannot happen. So that is what the point. This A, who is jnata, seeing the relationship between jnata and jnaya, it cannot happen, because jnata cannot be the jnata for another jnanam. So that is it. So jnata api jnata iva na jnayam bhavati. That jnata will not become a jnaya. So that will lead to infinite regress, as I just explained. Then yada chaivam, you still it is okay, or
yes,
maybe you please listen to this again if there is still some clarity needed. Yada chaivam avidya dukkhitvadiyaihi na jnatuhu kshetrajnasya kinchit dushyati. Okay. So this jnatuhu kshetrajnasya, for this jnata who is the kshetrajna. The word kshetrajna we discussed in the very first class. Kshetrajna does not mean there is somebody who is sitting there and then who is monitoring all our activities. Kshetrajna is not somebody who is sitting and then who is seeing all our activities. Kshetrajna is that Chaitanya only. Chaitanya which is illumining this body-mind complex is that thing. So that for that all these Kshetra dharmas, avidya, dukkitvam, etc., all this thing is, it is something which is, it is not going to adversely affect. Na kinchit dushyati, it is not going to taint, that say Kshetrajna. So then again Purvapaksha again comes out, he is still not convinced. Nanu ayameva doshaha yad doshavat kshetra vijñātrutvam. Okay, his point is, okay, you are saying that there is a Kshetrajna and there is a Kshetra which is having all this avidyadi dosha, and you are condemned to see that dosha every day, day in and day out, you are condemned to see that dosham. You are condemned to be associated with that. Is it not itself like that Lord Shiva trying to go and hide himself in some say a hollow of a tree? There is a story where say it seems Shani, Lord Shani, he once challenged that he can say affect anybody. Then it was, I don't remember the story, but then it was the turn of Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva said, okay, let me see how this fellow can catch me. So then he went and hid himself in some hollow of a cave, not cave, a hollow of a big tree. So he stayed there for a long time and then came out and then said, where is this Shani? How could he catch me? So he said, the very fact that you are highly, you are supposed to be there dancing with Parvati on that Mount Kailasha. So leaving all that, you went and hid yourself. Is it not Shani? So it is like that. So ayameva doshaha yat doshavat kshetra vijñātrutvam. You are seeing some kshetra which is full of doshas and you are eternally bound, you are eternally there with that. So the basic point is, Jnanam is something which is unaffected, which is untouched, unsullied, which cannot be affected by all these things. Jnana is something, it is something like a torchlight. Suppose there is a lot of filth in this room and then you bring a torchlight and then you you switch it on. And then the torchlight is not going to be affected by all this filth which is there in the room. That is what Kathopanishad says, Suryo yatha sarvalokasya chakshuhu. That sun, the sarvalokasya chakshuhu. That is for the whole universe, he is the torchlight, let us say. For the whole universe, he is the torchlight and then he is able to see everything, but then he is not affected by all these things. So like that, Jnanam is something which is unaffected. So that point has to be very clear with us. So, but then the Purvapakshi, he is putting the same question, or rather Shankaracharya is making that fellow ask this question because we have to have greater clarity on this point. Ayameva doshaha yad doshavat kshetra vijñātrutvam. So the Shankaracharya counter, the Siddhanti counters, na. Vijñāna swarupasyaiva avikriyasya.
Vijñāna swarupasyaiva avikriyasya.
Vijñātrutvopacharat. So this Vijñāna swarupasyaiva avikriyasya. So this Jnata or the Kshetrajna is of the nature of Vijñāna swarupa. That is, its nature is pure Vijñāna. Vijñāna swarupaha. Then avikriyaha, it does not undergo any vikara. There is no vikara, there is no modification, there is no change. So there, this Vijñātrutva upachara. So he is the knower, we are calling it, it is only an upachara. We are just calling it a Kshetrajna by upachara. You see the very word Kshetrajna, we are now knowing the meaning. Kshetrajna, we are Kshetra, what is the meaning of Kshetrajna? Kshetram janati. Janati means he knows. So there is a kartrutva there. That is kartrutva means that is knowing. Jnatrutva is there. So here it is said that Jnatrutva is something which is told by upachara, by figure. It is only by, it is a sort of figurative usage. Jnatrutva upacharaha. When I say I know myself, it is generally a figurative usage. It is not a real use. Just as I know this pencil. I know this pencil is something different. I know myself is something which is a figurative usage. So that is what it is. Vijñātrutva upacharat. When I say I am referring to that consciousness. And this consciousness cannot, I say I don't know, I know myself. That is what we read just now. Swapara, Swapara Jneyatva Yogat. Not in Shankara Bhashyam, but in Anandagiri. So it is not known by I cannot be known by myself. So that is what the point. Jnanam cannot be known by itself or by anything else. So Vijñātrutva upacharat. So this is that Vijñātrutvam is only told by way of upachara. Let me see whether there is any other point. Vijñāna swarupasyaiva vidya sambandha. Okay, let us read. Yatha Ushnata matrena Agnehe taptikriyopacharaha tadvat. So this is again a very familiar example which we have come across earlier. That is, Agni is there. Agni is fire. Merely temperature, maybe some 2000 degrees centigrade, we do not exactly know, depending on the type of fire. The various types of fires may be there, isn't it? So here, yatha ushnata matrena agnehe. So Agni means temperature, ushnata, that's all. It does not mean that it is burning everybody. When you go near and touch, it will burn. If you don't go near and touch, it will not burn. So ushnata matrena agnehe, for that Agni, taptikriya upacharaha. Taptikriyopacharaha means taptikriyayaha upacharaha. Upachara means just figuratively you are attributing to that. Upachara is a figurative attribution, let us say. A figurative attribution of what? Taptikriya. This action called burning. Tapti. Tapa. Tapa, you know. Tapa means to heat. Tapa is to heat. Tapti means heating. Taptikriya, the action of heating. So that is figuratively attributed to fire. So like electricity also. Electricity is now cooling this room. Electricity is not seen. It is only when it goes through a particular gadget and only when a particular process takes place, only then it is giving rise to coolness. So it is like that. Taptikriya is figuratively attributed to that. Similarly, electricity, we are attributing this light and coolness or heat only figuratively. Whereas electricity is, the nature of electricity is something different. So it's like that. Ushnata matrena upacharat. Okay. Yatha atra bhagavata kriyakaraka phalatmatva bhavaha atmani swatayeva darshitaha avidyadhyaropitaihi eva
अविद्याध्यारोपितैः एव
क्रियाकारकादि आत्मन्युपचर्यते
क्रियाकारकादि आत्मन्युपचर्यते
तथा तत्र तत्र
तथा तत्र तत्र
य एनं वेत्ति हन्तारं
यदेनं वेत्ति हन्तारं
प्रकृतेः क्रियमाणानि गुणैः कर्माणि सर्वशः
प्रकृतेः क्रियमाणानि गुणैः कर्माणि सर्वशः
नादत्ते कस्यचित् पापं
नादत्ते कस्यचित् पापम्
इत्यादि प्रकरणेषु दर्शितः तथैव च व्याख्यातम् अस्माभिः.
तथैव च व्याख्यातम् अस्माभिः.
So he says, I have given this commentary in accordance with what Lord Krishna has been saying all through and what he is going to say in this text. And he is giving certain examples. You see this line, Yatha Atra. Atra means here. Here means in this Gita, in this context only. Yatha Atra Bhagavata. Bhagavata means by Lord Krishna. Kriya Karaka Phalatmatva Bhavaha Atmani Darshitaha. That is, Atmani, in this Atma, in consciousness. Atma means, let us say, consciousness, in consciousness. Kriya Karaka Phalatmatva Abhavaha. Abhava means absence. Absence of Kriyatmatvam, Karakatvam, Phalatmatvam. That is, being a Karta, being a Kriya, being a Karaka, being, say, enjoying the phalam, etc., etc. We know these words, kriya, karaka, phala. Kriya means an action. Action. So and so, is eating a fruit. That eating is something which is a kriya. Then A is something, say he is the subject. That fruit is becoming the object. Then there is a relationship between the verb and this, say, noun and verb and the subject. That is a karaka. And that karaka, we know there is what is called kartru karaka, karma karaka, karana karaka, apadana karaka. Say all these karakas are there, 6 karakas are there. So kriya karaka. Then phalam. So there is a fruit of that action. So all these things, they are not the dharmas of jnata. They are just not, say, there in that jnata or consciousness. They all belong to kshetra. So that is what Krishna is going to say in different places in the same text. So he is quoting those things. Kriyakaraka phalatmatva bhavaha atmani swatayeva darshitaha. Swatayeva means by himself. Swatayeva darshitaha. By himself they have been shown. Avidyadhyaropitaireva. So he has said that all these things are merely attributed by avidya. Avidyadhyaropitaireva darshitam. That is, that he has demonstrated that all these things are merely superimposed, instead of superimposed, attributed, let us say, attributed by avidya. Then all these things, kriyakarakadi atmani upacharyate. So all these things figuratively, atmani, I am doing this, I am eating a fruit, I am sleeping, okay, I am enjoying something else. So all these things are upacharyate. They are all told or figuratively attributed to the self. So he is eating. Pashyan, Shrunvan, Sprushan, Jighran, Ashdan, Gachan, Swapan, Shwasan, all those things, all those kriyas, they are all figuratively attributed to the person. Whereas in fact, what is it? What is the thing? They say, let us see what Krishna has said in other places. Ye enam vetti hantaram. We know that line. Ye enam vetti hantaram yaschenam manyate hatam ubhautav na vijanitav. So that is what we saw in second chapter. That is, this Atma is something which is not either a subject for Hanana Kriya or object for Hanana Kriya. A person who thinks that he is going to hurt it, he is ignorant. A person who feels that he is hurt, he is also ignorant. Isn't it? So that is, it is an ignorant attribution. Then Prakruteh Kriyamanani Gunaih Karmani Sarvashaha. So that is what we read. The second line is Ahankara Vimudhatma Kartahemiti Manyate. Ahankara Vimudhatma, the person who is deluded by this Ahankara, that is, who is identifying himself with that I, Karta Aham iti Manyate, he thinks that I am the Karta. But whereas, who is the doer? The doer is Prakruteh Kriyamanani Gunaihi Karmani. So, Prakruteh Gunaihi Kriyamanani Karmani. So, all these karmas are being performed by these Prakruti's gunas. Prakrutehe gunaihi, by the gunas of this Prakriti. The Sattva, Rajas, Tamo gunas which are there in us or which have contributed to our body, to the making of our body-mind complex, They are the things which are driving us. They are the things which have produced our hormones and all our say anger, hate, love, all these things. So these are, let us say, hormones. So this Prakriti's gunas are the things which have created hormones in us, and then these are the things which are driving us into various actions. But then I am foolishly thinking that it is my action. Then nadatte kasyachit papam. This is another thing. I think it is in 5th adhyaya. Where is it? Nadatte kasyachit papam. Okay. Nadatte kasyachit papam nachaiva srujati prabhu or something like that. So that is the Prabhu. Prabhu means the Supreme Being. Supreme Being means Atma. That is consciousness. Na adatte kasyachit papam. Nachaiva sukrutam vibhu. So this papam and punyam. This is a very revolutionary statement which we have to see. The impact of this revolutionary statement. Why I call it a revolutionary statement is, religion usually says, okay, come to me, I will take away your sins. Isn't it? So that is what we see all our people who go about converting people. You come to our religion, our Lord will take away all your sins. Whereas our books, they have got the courage and honesty to say that this, what you call sin and what you call punyam, what you call this and that, this is all at vyavaharika level. So one should have a courage to say that. So that is why I call it a very revolutionary statement. That is, nadatte kasyachit papam nachaiva sukrutam vibhu. This vibhu, this what you call this Atman or self or consciousness is something which is not going to take away your papam or punyam. So papam, punyam, etc., they are all at an empirical level. They are at the level of avidya. So long as you are in avidya, okay, they are there. At the level of avidya, there is what is called Jannat. I suddenly went to Jannat. Because suddenly I remembered one line from Ghalib. Ghalib, there is a Urdu poet. So he says, Humko malum hai Jannat ki hakikat. So he says, I know the reality of what we call heaven. Dil ko behlane ko Ghalib ye khayal acha hai. This is something which is good for, say, pleasing yourself or deluding yourself. So that is what he says. Of course, he says, questioning the very existence of heaven. But then we, in religion, we don't question the existence of heaven or hell. We say that it is a lower level of truth. Ghalib, of course, he totally ridiculed, he told in a very much lighter way. But then here, in religion, what we say is, this is something which is a lower level. So that is why punyam, papam, etc., all these things are accepted as a lower level of truth, not the supreme level of truth. So that is what we have to see here. Nadatte kasyachit papam. Is it clear?
Yes.
You are still not, surprised. You are looking surprised. Okay. Ityadi prakaraneshu, or is there anything offensive? I did not say anything offensive because I told what is there in the text and what Vedanta says. Because for believers of heaven and all that, it may look rather strange. It may even look that we are teaching atheism in the classroom. We are not teaching atheism. We are only saying that this thing is at a lower level. This thing is at a lower level, and there is a higher level truth which we have to see, we see in Vedanta. So in fact, suddenly I am also reminded of another poem because I went to this Ghalib. There is another fellow called Omar Khayyam. That Omar Khayyam is some 9th century, 10th century poet from Persia. 10th century poet from Persia. They, by that time, this Advaita principles had already traveled to Persia. Because of all this interaction, very much olden days also there was a lot of interaction. This Advaita concepts have gone there. In fact, in that Fitzgerald's say Rubaiyat, there are some poems called Rubaiyat. There is a chapter called Kuza Nama. Kuza means pot. Kuza means pot. Kuza Nama means the book of pots. So what we call ghatam, etc. every day, this ghata. So all these ghatams are there. They are shown as characters. Then there is a thing, a similar thing called Nadatte kasyachit papam, etc. Similar thing. He says, oh, you have created me out of this baser earth, and also related to avidya. It is again related to avidya. You have created me out of this base earth, and then you have put me in paradise, and you have also divided the snake there. So for all this thing, for all the sin wherewith the face of man is blackened, you have blackened man's face. Because you have called him a sinner. You have blackened for all the sin wherewith the face of man is blackened. man's forgiveness, give and take. There is a Rubaiyat which was translated by one Englishman called Fitzgerald. You can see that Rubaiyat of Umar Khayyam also in internet if you want. There is a beautiful line. Oh thou, he addresses God. Oh thou, who man of baser earth didst make, and even with paradise devised the snake. For all the sin wherewith the face of man is blackened, man's forgiveness give and take, he says. So it is connected with avidya only. So you have created this thing, you have created this avidya, you have put me that near that snake which tempted me. So you have to ask forgiveness from man. So that is what he says. Of course, a poet can say anything. So that is the question. Avidya is something which is located in Chit only. Avidya, just now as I said, avidya is something ashrayatva vishayatva bhagini nirvibhaga chitireva kevala. If you want, you can note down this line. It is a very, very famous line which is often quoted in several books. That I think it is from Pancha Vivaranacharya. The line is ashrayatva vishayatva bhagini. Ashrayatva vishayatva bhagini nirvibhaga chitireva kevala. Chiti means Chaitanyam. I think earlier I said it is in Saptami Vibhakti. Here nirvibhaga chiti. Chitihi eva kevala. Kevala, because it is in feminine gender, it is kevala chitihi eva. That is it. Nirvibhaga chitireva kevala. So this avidya is something which cannot be located elsewhere. So anyway, we will come back to this. Yayenam vetti hantaram, then prakruteh kriyamana ityadi prakaraneshu darshitaha. So in all these contexts, the Lord has clearly said that all this kartrutva upachara, this attribution of doership is something which is only figuratively done, but it is not there in the jnata. So that is the point here. Darshitaha tathaiva cha vyakhyatam asmabhihi. Asmabhihi means by us. So Shankaracharya is using that word. By us, it is say interpreted. Vyakhyatam means it has been commented accordingly. Then uttareshu cha prakaraneshu darshayishyamaha. Uttareshu prakaraneshu. That means in the forthcoming prakaranas. Uttareshu, in the forthcoming prakaranas also, we will show or establish the same thing. Then hanta tarhi atmani kriyakaraka phalatmatayaha.
Atmani kriyakaraka phalatmatayaha.
You got it or not? Hanta tarhi. Hanta tarhi atmani kriyakaraka phalatmatayaha.
Atmani kriyakaraka phalatmatayaha.
Swato abhave.
Swato abhave.
Avidyaya cha adhyaropitatve.
Avidyaya cha adhyaropitatve.
Adhyaropitatve karmani.
Adhyaropitatve karmani.
Up to that point, adhyaropitatve karmani. Avidyavat kartavyanyeva. So here this also we can say karmani avidyavat kartavyanyeva.
Karmani
avidvat kartavyanyeva.
Avidvat kartavyanyeva.
Na vidusham iti praptam.
Na vidusham iti praptam.
So finally this Purvavashi is coming to the Vedantin's line of thinking. Okay, with what all you said in the last so many classes, I am now convinced that say hanta tarhi. Hanta tarhi means alas. Hanta tarhi is something like suddenly it is an exclamation. Hanta is a sort of exclamation. Oh, is it so? He is shocked. Hanta tarhi. Tarhi in that case, in that case, atmani kriyakaraka phalatmatayaha swataha abhave. When this is the time over? If it is so, we will do in the next class. This line. 1 more minute. Okay, if you say that this in this atma, this kriya, karakam, phalam, etc., are not there, and if you, when you are also establishing that avidyaya cha adhyaropitatve, so when these things are merely attributed by avidya, when this is the case, you have very clearly discussed and established so far, then karmani avidvat kartavyanyeva na vidusham. So all the karmas which we are seeing, all our acharyas and all our Ganapatis and all these people are doing. So all these things are avidvat kartavyanyeva. These are all meant for avidvan only. Avidvan Somebody who is steeped in avidya, avidwan means somebody who is steeped in avidya, somebody who is happy with avidya. So for that man only, and not vidusham, not somebody who knows about the real nature of Atma, because Atma is something which is untouched. And then Atma, you say, nadatte kasyachit papam. There is no question of papam, there is no question of punyam for this, at this level of jnani. So when that is so, for this jnani, there is no kartavya, there is no, all this karmani, they are at a lower level. They are for this avidwan, for the person who is in the realm of that avidya. So then, yes, you have now come to our point. That is what Siddhanti says. Navidusham iti praptam satyam evam praptam. Yes, it is true. You have now come to our point. We will see in the next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.